All right. Well, welcome to episode 8 of Community of Wisdom Seekers. And we are really excited tonight to have some shared wisdom coming from Tommy Breedlove. Actually, I had a comment on my post last night. They asked if your last name was real or if that was made up. I said, I don't think you can make something up. So awesome. So you can comment on that if you'd like, Tommy. So I got to meet Tommy at an event that Sarah Anna Powers hosted last fall. And it was a quick exchange before he was on stage. And I just absolutely fell in love with his message and really just his heart and how authentic and real he was. And I knew that he would be somebody that I'd want to bring on at some point. And through his assistant's help, he has been willing to come on for us tonight. And it's 8 p.m. where you're at. So I know that it's a little later, and we just really appreciate you hopping on to just share your wisdom with us. We'd love to hear about your book and some principles about it, what's in there, and how we can apply some of those things today, and really what you're doing in this time to really just execute and maximize the opportunities that are there, that are showing themselves, and how are you getting yourself through this time as well. So with that being said, Tommy, would love to give you the stage. Thank you again.
You're very welcome, Daniel. And so, yes, I'm Tommy Breedlove. I am the author. You probably see it all behind me, but I am the author of the book called Legendary, and we'll go deeper into that. But we're very thankful and grateful that it is now a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. During these times, and when this is being recorded, we're right in the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And so I think books like these and hundreds of others are more of a necessity these days because it covers all things from financial confidence to mindset to overcoming fears and insecurities, but also dealing with relationships. How do we build unconditional love for ourselves so that we can nurture intimate relationships with our friends, our network, our families, and if we're lucky to have so, our significant others. And so it's really an important book these days, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the genesis of the book. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. As I grew up in good, solid, blue-collar, humble beginnings in South Atlanta. I grew up with a significant amount of violence inside and outside of the home. And so the worst thing that happens to you when you grow up in that is you become what you hate, you become violence. So at 18 years old, I thought I would become the first person in my family to graduate college and go to college. That didn't happen. Unfortunately, I committed a violent crime, was looking at 7 years in prison. Luckily, it was dropped down to 2 heavy misdemeanors, and then I was sentenced to 2 years at 18 years old, ended up serving my 19th birthday incarcerated. Most amazing thing happened to me at that is this African-American gentleman who was 45 at the time. I was 18. And this is a big deal because people don't cross racial lines too often in those facilities. And he saw something in me that I couldn't see myself. And so he took me in. It was one of the first true male mentors I had in my life. He became a friend, he became a mentor, he became a coach. And he basically told me, I'm not going to let you come back into this revolving door system. You've got something better in you. So I took his advice, followed his love, followed his wisdom, eternally grateful for that man. And so from jail, I went to work at a nuclear waste container factory during the day, making $6 an hour, putting myself through community school at night. And then that led me to the University of Georgia. You probably see the bulldog over my right shoulder. So I ended up from jail to community college to nuclear waste factory to University of Georgia to being hired at one of the largest financial consulting and public accounting firms in the world, Deloitte, within 3 years. And so I was very proud of that. I was the first person to graduate college, first person to get into the professional world. So then you fast forward about 15 years later, I'm a principal at a very large firm, got the fancy office, tie, suit, cufflinks, car, corner office, and thought that the power, the money, the prestige, the next financial transaction, because I come from humble beginnings, I thought that those things would satisfy me inside, give me fulfillment, happiness, and they helped to make me look good. So on the outside, you said, this guy's going somewhere, he looks like something. But on the inside, I was still that little boy searching and screaming for love, to be seen, heard, loved, and be recognized, right? To be validated. And when the money, the power, the status didn't validate me, I turned to everything else wrong in this life. And so I found myself, probably doing some huge money deal 2 weeks before. And there I am waking up in a ditch in downtown Atlanta, staring up the blue skies, wondering how I got here and what am I going to do? And I don't know if it was God or this little voice inside my head or both of them that said, you got to get up, you got to dust off, and you got to live your life. And so I went on this incredible spiritual, mental, emotional, physical journey to rebuild me, to find me, to learn how to love myself, to respect myself, to find self-confidence, to stop caring what other people thought, and to start living my life and not my story. And what I didn't realize is I never dealt with those wounds and those demons and those insecurities from my past. And when I started dealing with those and really taking a deep dive and practicing forgiveness and gratitude and meditation and reading and surrounding myself with mentors and coaches and psychologists just to help me be the best me, the most amazing things started happening in my life. My marriage became as strong as it's ever been. My network increased 10x. My friendships were solidified. All these negative people started leaving my life and positive people started coming in. And my financial success and business success went up about tenfold just by being me, being the leader I was supposed to. And so that was kind of the birthplace of Legendary, but I didn't know it at the time. And so I had never intended on leaving the financial world. I shot up through the ranks. I went from junior partner to senior partner to equity member to board of directors, really at the top of my game at 39 years old. But I didn't love it. It wasn't my purpose. I know it didn't fulfill me. I was making a lot of money, but I was still unfulfilled in life. But now I was aware of my unfulfilledness, so I went to find that. And during that time, all of these ambitious professionals, from lawyers to bankers to entrepreneurs to managers to people from all walks of life that were in my network, started reaching out to me and saying, hey, man, you didn't give up your ambition or drive. You still want to be successful. You still want to make impact, but you seem peaceful. You seem happy. You seem more content. Your relationships are the best you've ever been. Can you give me that drug? Is there a magic pill that I can take to get what you have? And I was like, no, there's a lot of work. And so that's when I knew my calling in life was to be a mindset, business, money, and relationship coach, because I knew by helping these people just unconsciously at the time, I was seeing all these incredible changes in your life. And so when I became a coach, I run masterminds, I do retreats, I do one-on-one coaching. And I started seeing these systems and tools and processes, very simple tools that we can implement in our lives that can have this massive impact, from finding purpose and meaning to our lives, to reconquering our time, to developing the tools to have financial confidence, to hopefully lead to financial freedom, to building our networks, but then getting into the soft skills of, again, developing, being the masters of our mindset, which helps overcome those fears and insecurities and that ridiculously demonic voice that tells us we're not good enough. We all have it. And to finally building intimate relationships with yourself and with others, your network and your family. And so this book is the culmination of working with hundreds upon hundreds of people to find these simple tools. And what I think people are really enjoying about this book is it's simple, it's fun, it's fast, it's got great stories. The reason we picked the word legendary in a world that's so full of self-promotion, me, look at me, I'm Instagram fabulous. If we called ourselves legend, people would laugh us out of the room. And so legend is something given to us by society. It's something given to us by our peers. It's something given to us. And we can either be a ridiculously amazing legend, think the Martin Luther Kings of the world, or you can be a horrific legend. And I don't even want to mention their names because they're not worth mentioning. So, so this is a playbook that hopefully we leave this world better than we found it. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be a celebrity, but you can certainly be legendary in your world, live with purpose, meaning, and impact, leave this world better than you found it, and be known by our peers, communities, friends, and family when we finally depart this world as a legend. And so you asked a great question, Daniel. How am I applying it to my life? This book has literally, I spend about 2 hours a day working on myself. And so I'm a big proponent if we have to invest in ourselves first. We have to invest in our mental fortress, our emotional fortress, our physical fortress, and our spiritual fortress. And there's a lot of tools, a lot of systems, and they're very simple. But it's like going to the gym. You're not going to be in shape in one day if you just go to the gym one day or you go walking a mile one day. It's the work each and every day. And so what this work prepares us for is it's not if tough times happen in this life, it's when. And the whole world is facing a tough time right now. So by doing these simple steps every day, you can start mastering that mindset, those fears, those insecurities, that anger, that sadness that we're all feeling right now. You learn tips and tools to minimize it. You also learn tips and times to really utilize your time effectively, and also build skills that you might not have. And so it's a holistic approach to living your life in the best way that you possibly can. And so how this has affected me, it's allowed me to lean in, lean up, and use these tools and use these amazing technology platforms like we're doing right here with Zoom, and this will be on YouTube and probably be on Facebook and some other things, is that we can bestow this wisdom out in the world and use these tools and these simple systems, from gratitude exercises to meditation exercises to how do we utilize our time more effectively, to how do we network during a time to where we can't touch each other, we can't hug each other, we can't have coffee with each other. And so for me, it seems like I've been preparing for this my whole life without knowing it. From me giving back on national radio shows, to me mentoring and coaching my current clients, to running free seminars for people on meditation recently via Facebook, to just give people those tools to help minimize that fear and that insecurity and that, oh my God, what's coming next, to help them cut off the noise, double down and invest in themselves through tools, systems, but you got to make the choice. The only power we have in choice, I think right now what people are having problems with is they want to be in control, and we've never had control to begin with. And now we feel like we're even in less control because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Well, the truth is we've never been in control. And the only true thing that we're in control of is our mindset, our choices, and our attitudes. And so this book, my movement, people like me all around the world, our whole platform is to help make you the best you, and not to reinvent you or change you, just to bring the best out of you that's already in there to be the best possible person you can be. And so I'm super proud of this book. I'm super proud of the movement. I love people who say enough is enough. I want to be better. I'm tired of being unfulfilled. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being judgmental. I'm tired of being unsuccessful. And I'm going to be very cold here for a second. If you're unhappy or you're scared or you don't have the life of your dreams right now, I want you to go find the nearest mirror and look in it. Because it's not government's fault. It's not society's fault. It's the choices we've made to date. And if I come from humble beginnings and overcoming the things I've overcome, and I've seen countless of others, it doesn't matter what your story is or the wounds that you carry, the mistakes you've made, you can always start. You can always choose to invest in yourself. You can always choose to participate in your own rescue. And finally, you can choose to be just a bit better than you were yesterday. And that over time and over 365 days will lead to a successful, happy, fulfilled life of purpose. And hopefully you can build and live toward a legendary life. So I don't know how long I just talked there, but I went on this roll for someone who didn't prepare for this. I'm pretty super psyched about what I just said because I'm so passionate about it. So with that being said, I would love to Daniel or Lindsay, or I see a Taylor on here. I see a Deanna on here. I would love to just open it up to you guys and let me speak into you and tell you what's worked in my life, what I'm seeing, or helping you overcome anything. And so I'll turn it over from here, and I hope that was very helpful.
It was, yes. Thank you, Tommy. And one of the things that kind of came to mind for me that I'm seeing happen right now is we have people just either having trouble letting go of some attachments that are being forced upon them. They're not wanting to let go. And because of that, it's holding them back from really grabbing onto something else that could be a much more exciting opportunity, right? So whether it be relationship, and this can be COVID or no COVID, a relationship, or it can be a job, or it can be, just financial security in a certain way. So they're trying to hold on. And really, COVID in some ways has stripped it from them, but they're still trying to live in that same space and instead of shifting. So I'm seeing that. And then also, actually, if you want to just maybe speak to that, if there's anything that comes to mind to help people let go and get into a creative space to start moving forward.
I think it goes back to several things. I think change is super hard. I think change is super uncomfortable. I think whether our life is good or bad, we get into a comfort and we get into a routine and we know what we know. And so sometimes the unknown is scarier and more fearful than the things that we deal with that are known. And I think we as humans, we want to feel like we're in control. We want to hold on to what we know, whether it's a relationship, a career, something during this time that we feel like COVID has stripped away from us. But here's the thing, it's not just COVID. I mean, whether we think we're in control of our careers, if we work for someone else, you never know where it's going to be in 5 years from now. Honestly, we've never really been in control of our lives. We can walk out the door and we can fall over with a heart attack. And I'm not going to be a negative Nelly. I'm not going to put that out there. But the truth is we've never been in control. And the only power we have, and I'm going to go again, is our choices. And if you choose to stay with where you're at in life, whether it's a relationship, a job, a career, just something because you're scared of what lies on the other side, that's a choice you're making. You're choosing to stay in the fear of where you are now and not taking that little extra nudge or that one little baby step to kind of look behind the curtain of where we are now to see where we could be. And so if you're holding on because that's what you're comfortable with, that's okay. But know the change, the choice to do something different, to invest in yourself, whatever the change you seek in life, it's here right now. There are so many tools available to us right now, from technology to free books, to Audible books, to coaches, to mentors. I mean, you name it. There's so much information out there for all of us to lean in, participate in our own rescues. Make a small choice today to invest in ourselves, to just change something slightly so that we can be better 365 days from now. To me, it's so much worth more going to the fear of the unknown than staying somewhere I know, because the definition of insanity, we hear it time and time again, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and think happiness and success is going to happen. That's nonsense. The problem with life is nothing good in life comes easy. Think about all the things that give us an instant high, whether it's a Netflix show, gambling, drugs, alcohol, terrible food, that thing that makes us feel good instantly. Over time, it's the same thing that kills us really quickly too. But anything worth happening in life, from success to physical fitness to a really good relationship, you have to nurture that relationship. You have to work at that relationship. All those things take hard work. To get a degree in college, it takes hard work. To become financially confident or to learn some financial skills, hard work. But there's those few that choose to change, to invest in themselves, to take baby steps every day. No success happens overnight. They're like, oh, well, that person was lucky. Yeah, they spent 35 years working on themselves being lucky. And so it's just one of those things that we have to build. So I could go on and on about this. I think I've made my point. So Daniel, I'll stop with that.
Thank you. And can you give us a few little things that you did when you came out of that ditch, right? And you realized something's got to change. What are some of the small things as you look back? And even though you didn't really realize you were setting yourself up for where you are now in this book and some of those things that you were doing, I'm assuming are in there. What are a few of those small, simple things that if someone's listening to this and they're finding themselves in that place, right, where they've hit that rock bottom, what are a few simple steps I can do now after I get done listening to this thing to move in this direction and have a more legendary life?
So Daniel, great question. It doesn't have to be a rock bottom. And God willing, you'll make a change before you ever get there, because so many people have to hit that really hard place, whatever that hard place looks like. I had to do it in order for me to make a change, because I knew it was life or death for me. I knew if I continued doing what I was going to do, it was going to kill me. And I liked life more than that choice. And so if you're unhappy or you're unfulfilled or you're scared or you're judgmental or you're angry or you're at the bottom, what I want to tell you is, A, you're not alone. And I think so many of us, when we're in those places of darkness, when we're in the insecurity, when they're fear, where they think we're the only one who fears that. We think they're the only ones that has those crazy thoughts in our head. And that's absolutely not true. We all have our insecurities. We all have our wounds, our demons, our fears, our deep, dark desires that we don't want anyone to know. So the first thing I want them to know is, A, you're not alone. And there's 7 or 8 billion people on the earth right now. They're all right there with you. They're just not admitting it. And so first of all, no, you're not alone. You're not a freak. You're not an outcast. You're not just some outlier. You're actually quite the norm. That's the first thing I want to tell them. And so what it looked like for me, and this is the truth, is my wife and I had been going through a lot of marriage counseling, truth. And every time about the second or third meeting, they would say, Heather, you stay home, and Tommy, you stay here. And at first I thought they were going to say, yeah, she's clearly the problem. Tommy, you're all right. But what they were trying to do is they saw some darkness and some wounds that I wasn't coming to deal with. And so one of my people said, look, there's a place in Tennessee that can do more for you in 7 days than I can do in 10 years. And when I hit that rock bottom, I remembered that. And I'm like, I didn't care what it cost or what it did. Is I went and I pursued that. And I did 7 days of this program. They cut me open for 4 days, let me feel, understood I wasn't alone, gave me tools. They sewed me back up for 3 days and gave me all these small tools and resources. And so what I found was a community. And so it doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, black, white. It's the first thing I would say is find a community. If you're struggling with alcohol, there's AA, and there's also the non-AA. There's church communities. There's Annie Grace, who has a new community. She's an amazing author. So if you're struggling with alcohol, or you're just struggling with insecurities and fears, or you're just unhappy, the first thing I do, and I'm telling you this, these are the three biggest things that I think you can implement in your life right now. Is first, you have to find your tribe. And your tribe, there's all sorts of groups and online and Facebook groups. And so if you're struggling with fears and insecurities, maybe start with listening to or watching a Brene Brown YouTube, or reading one of her books, or reading one of her blogs, because within that, you'll find the community. You'll find your tribe who's dealing with those insecurities, those fears. And the second thing is you've got to start practicing. You have to start building those mental, emotional muscles every single day of your life. And within those books, and within books like Legendary, there's going to be tools that you can implement in your life and start building those muscles. And so there's gratitude practices that you can do. But the first thing you've got to do is find a community of people who believe in you, what you're doing, who desire what you desire, and get those negative influences out of your life. And one thing that we can do is cut off cut off the noise of social media and the news, because that's just darkness, division, fear, envy, and jealousy. That's what all those things promote. And so when constantly have garbage coming into our hearts, minds, and souls, garbage is going to come out. So if you cut off the news, you just start reading or listening to something within your community to help make you better, then finding people who are in that tribe to surround yourself with, and then doing daily tools and actions every day. Baby steps. You will start feeling better. You will find your tribe, and you will start moving forward in your life. That was a lot.
Oh, it was great. And what came to mind for me, Tommy, is those two things, the tribe, and then also the mental and emotional muscles. You can do that in a negative direction too, where maybe some people are in a community and they're exercising things in a negative direction for their emotional and mental wellness. And there's this cutting off process, this pruning of things, right? And for me, it's scriptural that's a part of the growing process. And we actually just cut a tree in our backyard just yesterday, and we just were reminiscing on how many times it's actually been cut all the way down to the stump, and the stinking thing grows back harder and faster and quicker every single time, right? And that's because it's being pruned back, but the roots are still really deep. Point is, sometimes we got to do that to get more strength, more girth, more moving forward. So it's interesting.
And Daniel, related to that, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to rip off the Band-Aid. You can slowly start weaning your tribe. And here's the truth, is pain loves pain. And so typically angry, judgmental, gossiping, bitter human beings surround themselves with angry, bitter, gossiping human beings, because that's their thing. That makes them feel like they're in community, because at the end of the day, we all need tribe. We all need a connection. And that's what's making this part of this time so difficult for us, is we crave connection and one-on-one connection. But over time, it doesn't mean you don't love those people. It doesn't mean you don't hope the best for those people. But over time, we have to get those energy vampires and negative influences out of our life slowly but surely. And there's ways you can do that. And again, you don't have to rip off the Band-Aid, but you can just say no to the phone call, or no to the getting together. And just over time, you replace that community with loving, abundant, caring, compassion. But here's the most important: people who are seeking the same things you want. If you want financial confidence, surround yourself with people who are financially confident. If you want loving, caring, compassionate, if you want that more in your life, surround yourself with people who are loving, caring, compassionate. And there's so many communities, from the yoga communities to the synagogue communities to the church communities to the AA communities to the Brave Browns, the Tony Robbins, the Tommy Breedlove communities. There's a billion of us out there. Pick your flavor. I might be chocolate. You might need strawberry. Go find strawberry. Find that flavor. That's your tribe, and just surround yourself with the best people you can. But and Deanna, thank you for saying that. You said here that just be a little bit better than you were yesterday, and it's baby steps. You don't have to go out in the mental world, the emotional world, the physical world, the spiritual world, and go run a 26-mile race. You can start by walking 10 feet. And walking 10 feet might just be getting out of bed that day and putting on a pair of pants. That might be enough. That's just a little bit better than we were yesterday. Or it might be getting up and putting on that pair of pants and just saying thank you. And that brief moment of gratitude is just saying thank you that I get one more day just to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. And you start with arithmetic. I like using this analogy. You start with 1 + 1 = 2. And the more you do this work, you start climbing a mountain. And this mountain that you're climbing, your view gets a little bit better. Your self-confidence gets a little bit better. Your friendships get just a little bit better. And that makes you want to climb even more. And eventually arithmetic becomes multiplication, becomes division, becomes algebra, becomes trigonometry, becomes calculus. And then eventually you're doing neuroscience. And that's people who are much better than I am. But at the end of the day, it's amazing what baby steps each day, depending on what you're working on. And don't overwhelm yourself. You don't want to just start baby steps. Like, where do you want to start first? Start there and just work on it each day. And eventually it'll become a way of life like no other.
It's good. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the one thing with talking about the smallest domino that can knock over the next biggest domino and so on and so forth. And I just talked to someone just yesterday about wanting a better relationship with God. And really it's waking up and saying, thank God for another day. That's it. That's
Indeed.
That's it. We do. I said, how often are you doing that? Not at all. Well, okay, that's better than nothing. He said, well, it's like kind of walking by your wife and saying, hey, babe, and then going to your room. I said, well, isn't that better than just going to your room and not saying hi to babe? So, I think God would want that from you too.
100%.
That's good.
And the simple, and on that note, I think one of probably the single most life-changing thing I've implemented in my life, and now it's become almost a way of being. I still have good days and bad days, especially right now. But the single most powerful thing that I've implemented in my life is the practice of gratitude, both formally and informally. I get up every day. When I open my eyes, I say, thank you. As I walk to the restroom, I literally go, thank you, thank you. I know this is really crazy, but it works for me. Then I write down, I actually have it probably somewhere within 2 feet of me, my gratitude journal, where I write down 5 or 10 things that I'm thankful for. And during the day, didn't do it so good today. I just have to own that. But during the day, when I get overwhelmed or stressed or angry, I start immediately thinking about or breathing into things I'm grateful for: the breath in my lungs, the beautiful birds chirping, the fact that Lindsay believes in us and our movement, works so hard to make us and herself successful. There's so many things, if we look around, that we're in the United States of America, that we're in a free country, that we have food on our plates, that I get to stay home and be better during a thing of COVID-19, and I'm not having to face the demons of the world at the same time. There's so many people who don't have that. They're facing this disease as well as survival in their own right. Think of Syria right now. Oh my goodness. So there's so many things that we could be grateful for if we just take a moment and breathe and look for them. So that's been probably the single biggest, most life-changing thing in my life.
I love that so much, and I will second it at a high level. It's quickly change. It's the only thing that can quickly change the state in such a dramatic fashion. It's pretty phenomenal. So thank you for bringing that to the light and sharing.
Totally, brother.
Your number one tip.
That's it. I would say the one close to that is I read everything I get my hands on. If it's in the space of business, self-improvement, or biographies of people that I look up to. As you can see, there's a picture of Einstein over my left shoulder. That's somebody I really look up to. And so I read his biography. Alexander Hamilton's a hero of mine, so I've read his biography twice. And so biographies of great humans and anything that I can get my hands on that's going to inspire me to just be a little bit better than yesterday. So here's the key. It's not just reading it, it's applying it. And you don't have to apply the whole book. That's why in Legendary, there's so many small, simple tips. We don't say do them all, you'll get overwhelmed. Just do one. And keep practicing and practice it. And eventually it'll become a way of life for you. And now we got to move to number 2. So start small and think big.
Awesome. Very good, Tommy. Well, that's all I have. I don't know if anyone has questions here. Let me just open it up for a second and see if we got anything. I think I have it open. Maybe not.
Deanna gave us a nice compliment. Thank you. That means a lot.
Sure. Cool. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and shut it down here. But before we do that, Tommy, let us know how we can find you, connect with you, become a part of your tribe.
Totally. If you go to, and this is something we've opened up during this time, and we're probably just going to keep it open because it's had such an impact. If you go to TommyBreedlove.com/gifts, and we didn't tell people this a while back, but now we're just telling people. At first, you're going to give a copy of a one-page document of how I live my life each and every day, just to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. It's a one-page document that we hope that you also take that and build one of your own. So we give a blank one for you to fill out, from everything from your time to your power to your energy to really how I live my life, or how I aspire to live my life every day. So once you sign up for that, you'll get that, and about 2 days later, maybe 3 days, Lindsay would actually know the right amount of days, is you'll get 2 free chapters of the book. And we've opened those up because these 2 chapters right now are so critically important. And it's around building financial confidence and freedom in a time that everybody's really scared. It's about developing our money muscles, our mindset muscles, our confidence, but also basic tools that we can apply into our lives right now so that we feel like we're in a little bit more control and confident about our financial situation. And the second one that we've opened up is the mindset chapter, and it's simple tools, basic concepts and stories about how do we overcome our fears, insecurities, our anxieties, our worries, and start building our mental fortress so that we live more on the compassion, love, confidence, self-respect side of the spectrum. So within 3 days, you'll get those. And again, it's TommyBreedlove.com/gifts. And there's a couple of more really cool things you get, but I don't want to bore you with all the details. So you get a lot more than that, but it's something cool that we're doing right now. And I hope just by those 2 simple chapters, and it also has my thorough story in there as well, that you're inspired to take action today to be just a bit better than you were yesterday.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tommy. Once again, really appreciate your time. I am grateful for you this evening and just all the wisdom you gave us and for your story. And just so glad you are one that turned it around and you're here to share it with us. And I know it'll inspire many, and that is my hope and prayer. And yeah, that'll be a conclusion of episode 8. And let's be legendary, everybody, moving forward. And go find all of Tommy Breedlove's stuff. I'm going to go check it out. I actually did buy the book just last night. So I have it to read now. So I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, brother.
All right. Carpe diem, everyone. Much love to you. And here's to staying well, healthy, and participating in our own RSUs, and God willing, building and living legendary lives. I love you all. Thank you.